5 years ago, I made a decision that changed my life forever. I removed alcohol from my life and never looked back. Now, I actually struggled with alcohol for around about 10 years. I'd tried going to AA meetings in the past. I'd tried to stop drinking hundreds, if not thousands of times. I mean, every day I'd wake up with a hangover and promise myself I wouldn't drink again. Then 3 hours later, 3 days later, 3 weeks later, whatever it was, back at the bar, ordering myself a drink and back on that madness again. My life was a total and utter roller coaster. But 5 years ago, everything changed when I made a decision to remove alcohol from my life. Now, as a result of that decision, I've actually built this YouTube channel, generated 15 million views, teaching people all about not drinking alcohol. I have a coaching company helping people not drink alcohol. I've worked with hundreds of business owners and professionals in that program. And in short, the stuff that I'm going to teach you in this video is going to be something that you have never seen before. This is the most in-depth training that has ever been created on quitting alcohol that's getting published for free on YouTube. And I promise you one thing. If you watch this entire video, it has the power to not just transform the relationship that you have with alcohol right now, it has the power to transform every single area of your life. It has the power to transform your health, the relationships that you've got with your family, your business, your career. It has the power to help you level up in every single area, because this video is not scratching the surface. This isn't going to be just a few hints, a few tips, a few ideas. This video is going so deep that I'm telling you, some of you guys, it's going to transform your life. This one simple video. What we're going to do is we're going to look into everything. We're going to talk about what to do before you quit. We're going to talk about, breaking your beliefs down, changing your perception of alcohol, building a new paradigm so it's not a fight and it's not a struggle. We're going to be looking at what happens when you actually make the decision, what happens between the different time periods, day 0, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 7, day 14, 1 year. We are breaking down everything. And not only that, we're going to look at the pitfalls, we're going to talk about how to get support, we're going to talk about what to do once you've stopped, how to start moving in the direction that you want, how to build a vision for your life. I promise you one thing, this is the best video that you will ever have seen on how to stop drinking alcohol. It is the full guide. So without any further delay, let's just dive into it. I don't need to sell you this anymore, let's just jump into it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to congratulate you. I want to say congratulations. You've just clicked on a video that most people are going to skip past. Most people are going to rather watch, some cat video, right? Most people are going to want to rather watch somebody talk about a video game. I don't know, some car video. You're different. You have clicked on this video and this is about you. This is about you leveling up. And guess what? Most people don't want to level up. Most people don't want to solve their problems. They just kind of want to sit with them, live in this mediocrity, but you're different. You clicked on this video. Congratulations. You've just taken the first step. Because I'm telling you, 97% of the people will have scrolled past this video and been scared. They would have seen that title and been like, I should deal with that, but you know what? I'm afraid I'm going to do it later. They're going to come up with these justifications saying, yeah, that would be nice to do, maybe in a few weeks, maybe in a few months. You're different. You clicked on this video. Let's not forget that. I respect you. You are different. You've clicked. It takes courage, right? It takes true courage to click on this video because you will be met with some resistance. This video is going to be uncomfortable, right? It's going to make you kind of feel like, oh, do you know what? Am I really ready to say goodbye to alcohol? Am I really ready to say goodbye to that friend, that person, that thing that's been by my side for years? That's why watching this video will take courage. So what I want to do is I want to give you a little bit of like a preface or kind of like a disclaimer, is that if you start watching this video and emotions start coming up, it's okay. If you start watching this video and you feel uncomfortable, it's okay. If you start feeling fear, it's okay. I want you to accept that this video might be a bit of a roller coaster of emotions, but just be ready for it, all right? The next thing is this decision of not drinking alcohol changed my life, right? As a result of this decision, I've traveled the entire world. I've got into the best shape of my life. I'm in an amazing relationship now. I've made more money than I've ever made in my life because I'm focused, because I'm dedicated, because I have clarity, because it's the one thing that if you get rid of, it's like a domino effect, right? Where it's just like next thing, next thing, next thing. I once read a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. Pretty awesome book. But the whole book is around this idea of what's the one thing that I could do such that by doing it, everything else in my life becomes easier or unnecessary. I read that book years ago and I've actually reread it a couple of times, just had like a flick through it because it's a pretty solid book. Every single time I've read that book, the same answer comes up. Stop drinking alcohol. That's the one thing that I could do. So it's changed my life. I know it's changed the lives for so many people, and it's about to change your life as well. The next thing I wanted to say before we dive into it even deeper is that this will be different to anything else that you've seen before. This is not going to be about labeling you an alcoholic. It's not going to be about fighting through and resisting cravings for the rest of your life. This training is going to be different. So let's get into it. So the first thing that we need to talk about is what to do before quitting, because what you do before quitting will make all the difference. This first part of the video is going to be foundational work. It's going to be so important. Because I'm not going to say stop drinking right now, right? We've got to build up to that. We've got to go through a set of processes and ideas before we actually get to that decision. In fact, making the decision isn't even coming up until point 9 in the video. So this stuff is critical. Don't skip over it. But what we first need to do is we need to accept the current paradigm in the world. We need to accept most people's worldview. What do I mean by this? Well, most people see alcohol as a beneficial thing, as something that adds value in their life. They see it as a way to relax, as a way to help them socialize. The current worldview is that most people see alcohol as a positive thing. So we need to accept that first, right? We can't live in denial. We can't live in a world where we're hiding from alcohol from the rest of our life, locked away in our bedroom, not going out at night. All we need to do is accept that this is where society is right now. Because once you've accepted it, then you're not going to be met with shock, right? Once you've gone through this whole process and you've changed your belief system and you see alcohol in a different way, we can't forget other people haven't gone through this process. So when you go to a bar, people aren't going to see alcohol the way that you're about to see it. At the end of the day, that's the world that we live in, right? We just got to accept it. So the next thing is most people don't do this. Most people don't stop drinking. Most people don't want to control their drinking. So as a result of that, there is a possibility that you will be met with resistance. Friends might be like, what are you doing, man? Just have a few at the weekend. Family members might do the same thing. Come on, it's Christmas, it's New Year, it's Easter, it's my birthday. Just have one, just for tonight, just for old time's sake. I've had close family members do this to me. To be honest, I set very clear boundaries with those people, and I said, I won't accept you in my life if you're going to behave this way. But this is what I'm talking about. There is a high possibility that you are met with resistance. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before we move into the video, because it's important that you overcome this stuff. So next thing is developing a why. This is so important. I don't know if you've ever read the book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek, but that's the big theme of his book as well. I actually think it's more of a business book, and he says people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. There's a story, whatever. It doesn't matter, right? We need a why. When you have a why, you're able to overcome obstacles. You're able to know why you're doing this in the first place. Having a why makes things 10 times easier. That's not even an exaggeration. I think if you went through this whole video without your own reasons of doing this, then you probably have 10 times less chance of succeeding. So what I want you to do right now is get a pen and paper, and I want you to start listing out 10 reasons why you are committed to doing this. Why are you committed to getting on this journey and following this path? Start making a list now, right? Start at the top. You could maybe write, one of the reasons why I want to do this is because I'm sick of the hangovers. One of the reasons might be that I want to set a better example to my child. One of the reasons might be that, I want my wife to fall in love with me again. One of the reasons might be that you just want to level up your business. You're sick of alcohol holding you down. I don't know what it is, but you need to write it down. In fact, if you want to pause the video right now, pause it. Just start writing. Just whatever comes to your head, it's fine. Just write it down. If you can't come up with 10 reasons, that's okay. If you only come up with 7 or 8, that's fine. But what I'm going to say is the more reasons, the better. Because you're going to use this later on in the video as ammunition. It's so important. And if I were you, what I'd do is I'd either print it out, I'd carry it in my pocket, maybe take a picture of it, put it as the screensaver on your phone. You need to know your why, and that needs to stay close to your heart throughout this entire video and this entire journey. One other thing is, keep them with you, and I'll share some of my reasons. Why I wanted to do this was, I have a younger brother. He's only 17, I'm 31, and I wanted to set a great example to him. Another reason why I wanted to do this is because I knew it was the one thing holding me back, like I've already said. Another reason why is because when I get to my deathbed and I'm 80, 90, 100, hopefully 100 years of age, and I'm looking back at my life, I don't want to feel like I didn't give it my all. I don't want to look back at my life with regret. And I could go on and on and on, but this is personal to you. It doesn't really matter what I put down, it matters what you put down. So that's the first thing. And please leave me a comment down below. Just leave me a comment with a few of your reasons, because it will give inspiration to other people that are also watching this training video, and it's a great thing to share. Why not? So now we've got our why. Let's move on to the next thing. The next thing I want you to do is going to involve more writing, but we're going to go over the pros, the cons, and the hard. So the first thing I want you to do is write a list underneath your why. You don't need to save this list as much. This is going to be more for what we're going to do next. The 10 reasons why is different, but we're going to go over pros, cons, and hard. So first thing I want you to do is I want you to start writing down the pros of alcohol. Now that sounds strange. If you've watched my channel for a while, you'll know I'll say that there are no pros. It doesn't matter too much right now. I want you to write down what pros you think you get from alcohol. What positives does it create in your life? Maybe you write down that, it helps you relax after that hard, stressful day at work. Maybe you write down that you love having a few drinks when you socialize. Maybe you write down you like the taste, right? You start writing down the things that alcohol gives you in your life, or at least that you perceive that it gives you. Once you've done that, I want you to then write down the negatives. So the negatives might be that you know that you've put on weight because of all the extra calories. The negatives might be that it's affecting your self-esteem. It's affecting your confidence. It's ruining your sleep. Your wife's mad at you for all the drinking. I want you to write down a list of the negatives. And then the fifth one, and this is the most important thing, is I want you to write down 5 reasons that you think that it will be hard, key word here, hard, to not drink alcohol. Maybe you know that you will be met with resistance, right? From friends, from family, from people that you love. Maybe that's one reason you know that it's hard. Maybe for you, it goes back to fear that we were talking about before. Maybe you're afraid of not drinking alcohol. Start writing down some reasons why it will be hard. Maybe you're afraid of the first few days, right? Getting through that withdrawal. We'll get to that later on. Maybe you're just afraid of how are you going to live your life without it? How are you going to get through the hard times, the stressful times, the good times? How are you going to get through life without it? Start writing this down. This is going to be so important because what we're going to do next is start shifting these beliefs. This is where it gets powerful. This is where it gets life-changing. When you're able to start seeing your beliefs from almost like a third-person view and look down at those beliefs and start changing them, this is when it gets insane. This is when it changes your life forever. So that's the first thing. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to say something now that might sting, right? I told you emotions may come up in this video, but this might sting, this might hurt, and that's okay, right? If you feel something coming up, don't worry about it. Just whatever you do, don't turn this video off. Don't say, oh, I feel uncomfortable, I'm quitting, I'm not doing this anymore. Just keep going. What I want to do is I want to tell you that this, the pros, and this, it being hard, is bull. I won't swear, right? It's bull. These are incorrect belief systems because all these are beliefs. You seeing a pro to drinking alcohol is not factual truth. You seeing a pro to drinking alcohol is a belief, and it is incorrect, right? And we'll get to this, right? But just bear with me. You seeing a pro to drinking alcohol is incorrect. You thinking it will be hard to not drink alcohol is incorrect. If you develop these paradigms and these belief systems where you think there are advantages to drinking alcohol, guess what? All of this goes out the window. We're going to talk about shifting this in a second, but the same, if you think it's going to be hard, guess what? It's going to be hard. If you think you're going to need to grit through it for the rest of your life, go to meetings, beg God to help you, that's a problem in your worldview because it's not hard. It's not hard in any way. That will make sense, but accept it, right? Just accept it for now. We'll get into it. So the next thing I want you to do is I want you to accept this, right? It's possible to change your beliefs. Do you believe that? Of course you believe that, right? I'm sure you've had beliefs in your life where you've changed. Maybe you've changed political parties, right? Maybe you've changed your religion. Maybe your parents said something when you was a kid about, I don't know, money or relationships. And then as you got older, you realize, well, hang on, I believed that before, but now that I've got older and done my own critical thinking, I don't think that's true anymore. It's possible to change your beliefs the same way it's possible to change these things. So please just accept that. Now, how do we change our beliefs? How are we able to shift these ideas, right? How are we able to objectively look at beliefs and then almost implant something else into our mind? Well, the way that we do it is through research. I know this sounds strange, but if you see pros to drinking alcohol, it's time to pull out the books. It's time to get on YouTube, right? It's time to start looking at these beliefs and finding evidence that it's not true. And this is hard. This is brutal because you're basically putting your whole ego on the line. The way that you've built your worldview up right now, you're basically going to say, well, hang on, maybe I've been lying to myself my entire life. This is uncomfortable. Most of you are probably going to click off the video now, but don't. So the way that we do it is we research. Stop Drinking books, amazing resource, right? Channels like this one, channels like other similar channels like mine. reading on Reddit, reading other people's experience of not drinking alcohol. But we also got to be careful because most people do think that it's hard and most people don't do this work. What you need to start doing is you need to start looking for people that do say that it's easy, that do say that it's possible to not drink, that do say that there are no positives to drinking. We need to find people like this that have this message, and then you need to just start consuming content like this. I'm telling you, it will change the game for you. If you read stop drinking books, and if you watch channels like this, or if you work with coaches, or you invest in courses, or whatever it is, this will change the game. So that's the first thing, is researching the pros, researching this idea that it'll be hard. Now, you can do this on your own, right? You can sit at home and you can list your beliefs, research the belief, list your belief, research the beliefs, change your ideas. You can definitely do that, right? I'm not saying you need to do that with anybody's help. This is a process that I take people through in my coaching program. What we do is we use something called first principles thinking. We've already figured out all the beliefs that people have when it comes to alcohol, and we help you shift it by using a mental model. We analyze the beliefs and then we put them back together to create a new paradigm or worldview. If you want more details on that, you can click the link in the description. You can book a short call. We can see if that program's a good match for you. I'm not saying you need to do the program. It is definitely possible to do this alone. Now, what conclusions are you trying to create? This is really important, because if we know what kind of worldview is going to make us successful at not drinking alcohol, then we kind of know where the research is going. So there are two kinds of conclusions we want to make. One is regarding alcohol and one is regarding you as a person. So when it comes to alcohol, if we want to make stopping easy, right? If we want to make it a logical choice rather than an emotionally charged decision, then these are the conclusions that we want. We want to see zero benefits to consuming alcohol. I know that sounds controversial. I know that sounds a little bit painful. But at the end of the day, let's just boil it back to what it actually is. It's poison. It's ethanol. And it's an addictive drug that rips lives apart, that destroys every single cell in your body, that shortens your life expectancy, that holds you down, that slows you back for these beliefs that aren't even true. It provides nothing to you at all. It gives you absolutely nothing. And that's why this video is so important, and that's why you've got to keep going, because trust me, it'll all come together in a minute. But that's the first thing. You've got to see no benefits. Then you've got to accept that there are only negatives. Now, listen, I know that's like a bit of a jump forward, right? This process can probably take you a few weeks, maybe even a few months. Some people can do it quickly, some people can't. It depends like how strong your current worldview is. And I know we've kind of jumped ahead, but that's what you've got to see alcohol as. You've got to see it as a highly addictive poison that does nothing for you. It only creates bad things in your life. But I'm telling you, once you've created this worldview, you don't need AA meetings. You don't need to go and sit with a therapist. You don't even get cravings. The desire lifts. If you truly see it that way and you see it without a single benefit, it's like a breath of fresh air. So that's the conclusion that you're trying to create, right? Let's move on. So next is what about yourself? So a lot of us that drink alcohol think that we are broken. We think as people that we have something wrong with us. Maybe our genetics aren't right. Maybe our parents have given us some weird DNA that makes us an addict. Nah. You don't want to do that, right? We want to do it differently. You need to see yourself as not broken. You need to see yourself as a 100% capable person that's fallen for a trap. You've fallen for a trap. Alcohol companies have been marketing to you since the day that you were born, and you've fallen for a trap. So you're not a broken person. You're not an alcoholic, right? And I know that sounds controversial as well, but you need to see yourself as somebody that fell for a trap, that got addicted to one of the most addictive substances on the planet, that also dehydrates you. You don't have anything wrong with you. And again, I'm telling you, if this sounds too painful right now, go back to this step. Start researching. Watch more channels like mine. Buy some books. Do whatever it takes. Get a coach. Whatever. But you're not an alcoholic. It's not hard to stop drinking. It's easy. It's effortless. It's enjoyable. It's a logical choice. And the other thing is that you need to know that by doing this work, by getting into this state of mind where you see alcohol for what it is, it will change everything. The best thing is it won't just change your life. Sure, you're going to drop some weight. Sure, you're going to feel better. Sure, you're going to look awesome. Sure, you're going to make more money, have more clarity, make better decisions. Sure, the whole list of benefits is there. But it doesn't just change your life. This will change your family's life. This will change your friend's life. This could change the lives of millions of people. You could go on to have such a big impact in your life after making this decision that it could change the world, right? Let's be real. So that's another conclusion that you want to create. Once you've created these conclusions, the next step is making the decision. This is what I was on about, right? There's a lot of work to do before you actually get to making the decision. Most people fail because they don't do this work. They don't go through these 8 steps. They just think it would be a good idea to stop drinking. And then what happens? Most people fail. I mean, I hate to say it. I'm not trying to snigger. I'm not trying to speak down on those people. But that's the reality. I failed for so long. I tried again and again and again and again and again. Failure, 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 relapse, 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 relapse. That's the reality for most people. It wasn't until I went through a similar process to this, it was like a flick of a switch. Done. Finished forever. So now let's get into the nitty gritty, making the decision. Making the decision to not drink, right? If you haven't done this work, it's going to be harder, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to presume that you've done it. Even if you have to come back to this video in 6 months' time after you've done this stuff and start it from here, that's okay. We're going to continue. So once we've shifted our beliefs and we've changed our worldview, it comes down to the decision. So once we've shifted our beliefs and once we've decided that alcohol does nothing for us, it's about making a decision. Now, this is where most people fail. What do most people do when they stop drinking? Well, I'm going to do a challenge. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to stop for 30 days. I'm going to stop for 90 days. I might try a year, and then they're going to go back to it. It's a one-way ticket to relapse, right? And I'm not saying that there are people out there that don't stop drinking for 30 days, stop drinking for 90 days, and then continue for the rest of their life. Of course there are. But if you're saying that I'm going to stop for 30 days and then drink again, you have not done this work. That is for sure. Because you still think there's a benefit to drinking it. So you think that, right, I'm going to resist drinking for 30 days and then I'm going to reward myself with a drink on day 30. If you do that, you have not done this work. So there's a deep fundamental issue in your paradigm. If you get to this place and you think I'm going to stop for 30 days, I'm going to do 90 days. Decision. Decision, decision, decision. This is the most critical word that you should have in your vocabulary in this journey of not drinking alcohol. When you decide to brush your teeth in the morning, do you start walking to the toothbrush, putting your toothpaste on and then thinking, do you know what? I'll go and make a sandwich and then come back and brush my teeth. When you order food and the food is on its way, do you ever call the delivery driver up and go, do you know what? I changed my mind. No. These are decisions. These are decisions, clear-cut decisions where you're not going back on your word. This is the level of certainty that you need, the level of clarity, the level of absolute black or white thinking when it comes to not drinking alcohol. This is why I've not drank for 5 years, because I made a decision. I didn't try and not drink, right? I didn't resist alcohol. I didn't stop for 30 days. I made a decision. I said, that is something that does nothing for me. I'm putting this behind me. Do you see the difference? Hopefully you do. So I can't make that decision for you. Nobody can. Only you can do it. Maybe this video is enough for you. Maybe me saying all this stuff is enough for you to go, boom, I'm ready. Maybe not. Maybe you need to go back here. That's okay. If you're ready to make the decision now, do it. I'm not stopping you. No one is. Just do it. So let's get into day 0 to 3. So day 0 to 3, right? I'm going to be real with you. If you are afraid of withdrawal and you've been drinking a heavy amount, like bottles of vodka a day, for prolonged periods of time, get medical help. That's not medical advice, but don't be watching this video and thinking, right, you know what, I feel good right now, I feel pumped. And listen, for most people, it's going to be fine. If you're one of the people that are afraid of DTs, of withdrawal, of potentially dying from removing alcohol from your life, please get help. 90% of people are going to be fine, right? It's definitely something that's kind of a bit of a myth that's pushed on us, that it's very dangerous to not drink. I mean, who wouldn't want that? If you're an alcohol company, why wouldn't you want people to believe that it's dangerous to not drink? If you believe that, guess what you're going to do? Continue drinking, right? So we just got to be a little bit careful. But what I want you to do is I want you to expect some physical challenges. Day 0 to 3, you might feel a bit rough. You might have a bit of a cold. There is, some kind of flu-like symptoms, a little bit of withdrawal that can definitely come up. Just expect it, right? Once you've made the decision, it's just getting through that initial patch that kind of sucks, but freedom awaits. Just bear with me. So next, days 3 to 7, this is usually when people start perking up, right? Around the day 4 mark, day 5 mark. It just depends on how long you've drank for and the severity of how much you've drank. But usually people start perking up. They start to feel a sense of relief, like, oh, I'm through the worst of it. Sleep starts to get a little bit better. This is another thing that can happen in the first few days is sleep can suck. Then we kind of get into the first month. So, day 7 to kind of day 30. This is when big changes start happening. This is when your energy starts to feel like, oh, damn, I've got that bounce in my step again. I'm waking up feeling refreshed. This is when you start to think clearly again, something that you might not have done for years. This is when your self-esteem starts to go up because you've made a decision, you've stuck with a decision. How would that not build anybody's self-confidence? Especially if you've been struggling for a long time. You're finally on that path. It's a great feeling. For a lot of people they'll start getting compliments. Oh, you look different. Oh, you're looking great. What are you doing differently? Your energy is different. You feel sociable. You're nice to be around. This is when your kids start looking at you like, man, you're awesome. Great things can start happening at this point. Then let's go to kind of like, 3-6 month mark. This is when it can start taking a turn for the worse. Now, I'm not trying to derail you. I'm not trying to scare you or anything like that. I'm trying to be realistic with you to help you prepare. The first, around the 3 to 6 month mark, this is when we can start forgetting right? Great things are happening, but we can start forgetting this stuff. We can start forgetting the negatives. We can start forgetting that there are no positives. We can start forgetting that why we did this in the first place, right? We can start forgetting things. And this is when this little voice in our head can start perking back up. Listen, it wasn't that bad. Oh, you could have a few and then go back to controlling it. And this is a pitfall. Now, we're going to get to more pitfalls later on in the video, so definitely stick around for those because I don't want you to slip up. But what basically happens is around this mark, we have this very severe point of contrast. We've been drinking for years, we're not happy, we don't like it, we want to change, we stop, so of course we're going to feel great because the contrast is so severe. But eventually that contrast starts leveling out. Not drinking feels normal. So that's what can happen around this mark. And this has happened in my own life. You know, I've done it before where I've not drank for like 8-9 months. Life was going well. I had a personal training business. I was, living in an awesome place. I had a Mercedes. I had a girlfriend. I was like, oh, life's good now. And then this little voice in my head was like, well, why don't you have a few? And it was actually in a New Year's Eve party, I don't know, like 7 years ago or something like that, where 6 or 7 years ago, I can't remember the dates, but this voice in my head basically said, just have a few tonight. Then the next 6 months just went back to what it was like before. Everything in my life just went downhill, but I didn't know this would happen. So that's why I'm putting this in this video, because I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to be ready for it. Okay, point 14. 1 year. So around the 1 year mark, this is when you can kind of look back at your life and see all this linear progress, where rather than life being like this up and down, constant roller coaster, this constant battle, you start to see linear progress. Maybe for you, that's the scales just continually going down, right? You've dropped 20, 30 pounds. Maybe for you, that's like your running times getting faster. Maybe your bank balance has just been on the upward trajectory. Maybe your relationships are all moving in the right direction. It stops to feel like a roller coaster. Around the 1 year mark, for me, this is actually when I made my first YouTube video talking about not drinking. I didn't drink for 365 days and made a video. I started sharing my journey with other people and just something that I didn't expect to happen in my own life. I didn't think I'd have tens of thousands of YouTube subscribers and 15 million views. I didn't know this would happen. But this is the crazy things that start happening. Because once you're a year in, this is when people have the true confidence that this problem is solved in their life. I wouldn't have felt confident helping other people not drink after I hadn't drank for a week. Even though I made that pure decision, that true decision, I could have started working with people. But at around the 1 year mark, I didn't even realize it had been a year. I don't count the days. I don't do anything like that. In fact, I'll tell you the whole story. So I was I'd stopped drinking alcohol. I'd booked this one-way flight to Chiang Mai in Thailand because my dream was to have some kind of online business, right? Didn't know what it was going to be, but I booked this flight. And whilst I was in Chiang Mai, I met this man called Nick Nimin. Nick Nimin said, what I was doing for the first year of not drinking was traveling around, doing freelance work, building these skills. I was learning writing, I was making videos for somebody else. I was learning all of these skills, and I met this guy called Nick Nimin. And Nick basically said, stop working for other people. Even though I was also working for Nick, he said, stop working for other people. You've got to do your own thing. You've got to get on YouTube. So that's why I made this video. And it just came into this business, came into this message, came into this purpose and this mission of helping other people. I mean, it was an awesome thing. And this is it. At the 1 year mark, big shifts can happen. Big shifts. Because now you know that you can tell yourself you're going to do something and you follow through 100%. That's powerful. That's when your self-esteem gets higher and higher and higher. That's when your self-confidence gets more and more and more. I can set a goal, I can tell myself I'm going to do something, and I follow through. Who doesn't want that? That's awesome, right? And a big thing around the 1 year mark is also the example that you're now setting to people, right? Like I've set an example to people that I hadn't drank for a year, and other people wanted to be part of that. That's cool, right? Not saying that from a place of like, I'm better than anybody or anything. I don't think that in any way. But around that 1 year mark, man, you're setting a great example to your friends, great example to your kids. People are going to trust me, people will notice. Friends are going to say, what are you doing? And then, a year plus, it depends. It depends on the next part of the video, right? It depends on who you want to be. It depends on, what you really want for your life. Maybe if you just wanted to stop drinking and you were happy with everything. So a year plus, it depends, but we won't go into that now. So let's quickly talk about some of the pitfalls that you need to watch out for. The first is that point of contrast that we spoke about before. I wanted to touch on it again because it's so important. But that's when you start forgetting how bad things were. That's when you start forgetting your why. That's when you start, the beliefs start shifting again, right? That can happen. So we've got to be wary of that. Another big one is seeing other people that are successful, that are confident, that are happy, people that you admire, people that you look up to, seeing those people have a small glass of wine and nothing changing in their life. And then we start buying into this idea that maybe we can be like them. That's something that happened in my own life. I had this friend, successful professor, killing it in life, multimillionaire, and a very likable person. And I used to see him drink, and he'd have like half a glass of wine. And until I'd done this work, and this was a long time ago when I saw this, but I used to think, damn, it's possible to drink and be successful. I don't think that anymore. I don't even want to drink. I don't care if that's even a possibility, because there's no benefit that he's getting anyway. But that's another thing, seeing others drinking, and forgetting your why, forgetting the negatives. So, point 17, support. What can you do for support? If you don't want to do this on your own, what can you do? Well, you've got different options. You can hire a coach, right? You can get a coach. You can get some accountability. You can get a stop drinking coach, some kind of life coach. You could get a fitness coach. You can have somebody in your life that's in your corner that believes in you and is going to hold you accountable. That is a great thing. I've spent probably $50,000 on coaching programs, finding help, personal trainers. I've just started working with a boxing coach, business coaches. I've done it all. I spend a lot of money on this stuff because I believe in it, and it's helped me in my journey. Another thing you can do is find a community, right? Like, for some people, they might find it in AA. I'm not saying you don't, I'm not trying to tell you exactly what to do. But having a community of people where you've got something in common that isn't drinking can be really helpful. Some people find that in the gym, CrossFit. Some people find it in hobbies. Anyway, I'm not going to start listing out hobbies, but you get the point. There are options for support, and for some of you, you're going to want to find it. If you want my help, again, you can click the link in the description. If you want to join the Sober Clear program, we have a community of business owners, of professionals. You're able to contact me. I'll give you my number. But that's an option as well. Next thing is friends, right? So let's talk about this. This is kind of related to a pitfall, but you may have good and bad friends in your life. You may have some friends that are super supportive. They're super encouraging. They're so happy for you. They're so proud of you. And then also you might have bad friends. You might have friends that they don't really want to see you change, because when you change, that means that they need to start questioning their life decisions. So they might not be comfortable with you changing. They might almost want to see you fail. And you've got to make decisions with these kinds of people in your life. Is it somebody that you can eliminate? Or somebody that you think you should eliminate, I should say? Or is it not? Is it somebody like a close family member that you can't get rid of, that you don't want to get rid of, that you love, and you need to set a boundary? I've had to set boundaries with people before. I've had to say to people that it is not acceptable, you asking me to drink, I don't drink anymore. And I'm not accepting that in my life. That's uncomfortable, right? A lot of us don't want to do that, but just understand that it might happen. You may have to set boundaries with people. Now, 19. This is kind of scratching the surface here. I'm not going to go super deep into this because I could just make another 1-hour video talking about this. But some things that you can start doing after you've stopped drinking is start listing out your values. Start listing out the values that you want to use to run your life. Some of mine are discipline, zeal, being zealous, having passion, loving, being compassionate. A great thing you can do is list out 4 or 5 values and decide kind of some principles that you want to use to guide your life. Super, super powerful thing. One awesome thing that you can do as well is imagine that you live with those values for 5 years. Start writing out where you'll be in 5 years from now. That's a really awesome way to get a vision for your life. You can start thinking about some habits, some new habits that you might want to put into your life. Maybe you want to get on a nutrition plan. Maybe you want to start exercise. Maybe you want to start meditation. Maybe you want to start going to church more, reading the Bible, reading the Quran, whatever. Find some habits. And another thing you can do is set goals. I won't go into goal setting in this video. I mean, I'm sure you can find an in-depth video on that, but maybe there's some areas that you want to explore. But I think the most important question here is you need to now decide, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be in this world? How do you want people to remember you? Because now that you've done this, I'm telling you, it's like a whole new lease on life. The world is your oyster. You can do anything now. So decide, who do you want to be? I remember when I did this exercise, I did it in a different coaching program. I decided that I wanted to be somebody that could help people stop drinking alcohol. I decided that I wanted to be somebody that could make YouTube videos, stand in front of a camera and talk for so long. That's who I decided that I wanted to be. I wasn't that person before, but I started stepping into that. Now, one great idea is that once you've stopped drinking is to pick one area. Just pick one area for now and attack that area. For me, when I stopped drinking, it was my health. That was the first priority that I had. I wanted to get back into strength training. I wanted to be consistent in the gym. I wanted to eat healthy, and I wanted to lose the fat that I did. And that was the area I picked. Maybe for you it's different. Might be your relationship with God. Might be rekindling the relationship with your partner. Pick one area and go hard on that area for the next few months. So what about next? Well, I'm going to get into some bonus content in a minute, so just bear with me. But what about next? Like, where could you go from this point onwards? Well, if you want to jump on a call, click the link in the description. We're going to get on a call, and what we'll do is we will talk about how we shift your beliefs, right? So what we do is we use this mental model called first principles thinking. We also have coaching. We have a program that's designed to help you build a better life without alcohol. If you want details on that, again, click the link in the description. You can book a call and we can break down exactly how our system works. That'll be super powerful. But let's kind of look over this bonus content. The first thing I want to do is I want to tell you that I believe in you. If you have made it this far into this video, respect. I'm telling you, not everybody's going to get to the end of this video. It's long, it's detailed, and this work is hardcore. It ain't for the faint-hearted. But if you're serious about change, then you've made it this far into the video. I just want to tell you that I believe in you. I think that you're awesome. I'm so proud that you've got to the end of this video, because it's not been an easy video to get through. A lot of people will just be like, nah, I can't do this, I'll do it later. I'll bookmark this video and come back to it in a few months. You got to the end of it. The second thing I wanted to say is, it's brutal, but you need to stop lying to yourself. These ideas, these beliefs, it's nothing more than lies. You know that alcohol is doing nothing for you. You know that it's not helping you. You know that if you solve that problem, everything in your life will get better. But the only thing that's stopping you is you being 100% honest with yourself. So stop lying to yourself. And finally, I wanted to tell you my biggest regret. My only regret is not doing this earlier. I know we can't live with regret, right? In hindsight, it all worked out in the end. But I promise you one thing. If you get on this path and you stick on this path, it'll change your life forever. I believe in you. I know you've got this. Have a wonderful day.